So, what does it actually mean to be an unconventionalist? Well, I'm not quite sure, other than the fact that when things don't seem to fit, I don't know, maybe we're born this way. You just never really kind of fit in anywhere and nothing seems to make sense. It's like you kind of grow out of your shell like a crab. If you don't, you'll die, you know? I don't know if it's something we're just born with, but one thing of peculiarity is that I've met a few unconventionalists. They probably don't know that they're unconventionalists. But one of the things I found in these people is none of them really had any really conservative or tightening belief systems around any kind of particular religion. Yet these people know in their knowers not to steal, not to cheat, not to kill, not to, pretty much just be a bad person. They don't really need to have this instilled in them. They just kind of have it in them. And kind of a snitch on humanity is that we have to have such things as 10 commanding issuances, if you will, of don't steal, don't cheat, don't screw your neighbor's wife, or her husband. People do it all the time. So it's almost like people need to be told these type of things. Being an unconventionalist is kind of like the difference between having a regular 9-to-5 job, and that makes a conventionalist, and an unconventionalist life is like owning your own business. There's no structure to it. You never really know what's going to happen. There's so many variables that are always happening in life. So it's like I don't know which is more terrifying. Like to think that if you just do good, you do the best that you can, there's a plan for you at the end of this whole game of life. Whereas if you live a life of openness and randomness, there's never really an answer, ever. And that's what makes it difficult, in some ways, to be an unconventionalist. I see it far more difficult to live with predictability. It's just boring, for one. But terrifying. And terrifying in the bit that, as a conventionalist, it's like every impulse that you have in your body is pretty much, you're being told, is wrong. And not to say that every impulse in your body is the right thing, especially being from male descent. There's violence, there's urges from sexuality, things that I just observe in other men and also myself. There's like these encoded genetic DNA footprints, I think, that we have, that many people like to ghost. They like to keep in the closet, of the self. And it's a very strange place once you start to explore these things. When you're a seeker-seer, there comes a point in your life where you might want to question everything, even mostly just yourself. Who am I? What am I doing? What are these experiences? If I don't forsake myself from all underlying subconscious dialogue of the self, what comes up? And it's a pretty peculiar thing. And what I have found as an unconventionalist is that there's so much that is just meaningless. Like the outcome of all of these, most of these urges and these undertow subconscious things that we have residing inside of us and around us. And I've come to the point where it's a very strange life. I've spoke about the last life lived. This meaninglessness just seems to keep growing and growing. in the fact that what good is it to fight my way through a bunch of other males and like a gorilla, so I can have my harem of females, so I can spread my seed and spread my genetics so that my genetics survive. I mean, the animal kingdom is brutal if you really look into it. But we're not that far-fetched, not that far differentiated from animals, in my opinion. We just haven't gotten in touch with that animal self. But what I've come in conclusion through this self-exploration is that it was a strange one to think that I am pretty much depriving myself of almost all human experiences. Like, sex is a wonderful thing. It feels great. It's fleeting. It comes and then it goes. But the price that comes with it is terrifying. Venereal diseases or childbirth. Not for me, of course, I'm male. Attachments. And hell, you're going to have that thing. You're creating a human being and something that you're going to be worried and wanting to take care of. Something that you're pretty much going to have till the day you die, hopefully. But the undertow of many of these human experiences really, once explored to the top, to the core, really don't have much meaning or significance whatsoever. Even when it comes down to like anger and joy and sometimes even love. Love seems to be like a trap sometimes that I don't even know how to explain this. That I don't know. In our society, it seems like everybody needs to be acknowledged. You need to be told that you're loved. You don't. It's a saying that I go for the rest of my life. I've been, for a very long time now, is do you want to be perceived as happy or do you want to actually be happy? Do you want to be perceived as, do you want to give love, right? Do you want to be perceived as loved or do you want to just feel loved? Do you know that when you're loved when somebody does something special to you? I remember there was a moment when I was a child, I was at church and I was just having a really rough time and my shoelace was untied. And I didn't quite know what to do. I was just learning to tie my shoelaces and I just got frustrated. It was a big knot and this older woman bent down in front of me and undid my shoelaces, and the feel of the top of her fingers against my shoe, against my ankle, I felt the love exuding out. And I remember that human touch, that just how it transformed me. It sent almost like a electricity, but a very subtle, gentle, warming electricity, like a light. And I still have love. I pet my cat. I take care of my daughter, my kid. I have 2 kids. But it seems to be distorted in humankind. Almost like some sort of affirmation, like a mantra we always have to keep saying. We have to keep fortifying because we don't feel full. We don't feel accepted. Kind of like how women always need to be told that they're beautiful, and that just makes their day. In contrast to somebody who knows they're beautiful and doesn't need to be told that, doesn't need confirmation from anybody else. Same as a male who knows his masculinity. He knows what he's capable of doing. But in all decency, it repels him to place harm on another human being. And what's the outcome? What's the significance of it? A lot of these things just don't fit. It reminds me of a toroidal field. In some of my strange, and this is not with psychedelics, this is just dreams and visions and things that I've experienced that I can't even explain. I've gone to the depths of exploration in myself. discreating my entire body, the universe, everything, and just kept going deeper and deeper into these, I wouldn't say strange places, just unknown places. And one of the symbols, I try to reject all symbols in this, in physical matter, things that manifest, because what I am is wondering if I'm coming into these experiences biasly. So if I'm creating the things that I'm seeing. But one continuous thing I see is a toroidal field, kind of like the geometry of one. And life seems to me that we are all in some sort of a large toroidal field, but also in our own personal toroidal fields. And what happens is that the donut, if you will, around the toroidal field is actually the biodigester. This is the digester of energy, of experiences, of information, of many things that I can't even put into words. And what comes in usually comes from the top, although I don't know if that's for certain. But things come in, and as they pass through the center, they get absorbed, just like consuming the consummation of food. And if we visualize this is kind of what's happening in our psyche, I believe, for now anyways, that we have these digested pieces of information and experiences constantly filling up that space as we progress forward towards whatever destination we're heading for. And it's very important what you allow access into that toroidal field. Sometimes I wonder if it is the top, because that's where the mind resides in the body, and information is received as a receptor into that brain, which can, in some senses, trickle down the spine and exit towards the lower area. But in that system, there's a storage. Again, not psychedelics. It's terrifying, I think, as you become more and more unconventional and you explore concepts and things and mind experiments like this. Because the crutch of things like psychedelics is that you can put the blame on the drug. It's the drug that made me do it. I was hallucinating, but it's equal as terrifying to wonder if you're losing your fucking mind as you explore these depths. But the difference is there's no crutch. There's nothing to put the blame on. It's just you, and how far down are you willing to go down that toroidal hole. And as I keep progressing more and more, which I think is happening now in a subconscious era, an existence, possibly a parallel, is that this is happening during the day, this is happening during the night. There's things that are difficult to explain in unspoken language, more in symbolism. Kind of like the thing that if you've ever entered a room, there was somebody you never even knew, but for some reason you had that strange feeling, that you didn't like this person, or maybe you were attracted to that person. But why would you have these instinctual markers when you don't even know anything about them? It makes no sense when you think about it in your mind. I guess those who keep exploring the unconventional we never stop. It's like a hand grenade that never stops exploding. Every thought is like the 4th of July. The great part about being an unconventionalist, though, is that there's absolutely nothing boring about it. There's fascination in almost everything. In fact, it's a job to not lose yourself to fascination in everything that you see and experience. I mean, it's down to the simple things like water. Water can't be compressed. Water holds memory. Water conducts electricity. The earth's made out of 70% water, so it's said. The human body's made out of 70% water. There's water floating in space. It takes on many forms. The magnification of a light is what gets me. The magnetic properties of water is compelling, but just the flow of it. And I think it's the simple things like this that we should look at. It's what sustains all life. Without it, we're not here. We wouldn't be here. But the appreciation in an unconventionalist to see how magnificent just something as simple as water is, to feel raindrops falling on your body, to listen to them at nighttime. Oh, my favorite is the ocean. The sizzle of the foam and the waves. The high intensity roar during a storm. Or the sound of the waves lapping your surfboard as you lay in the lineup in the ocean, or if you're sitting on a boat. Something about that ocean. Anyways, the unconventionalists